Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in Visalia, California. I'm Reverend Nan Bankston, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our meditation time. Kevin's going to be playing beautiful music for the next 15 minutes, and we'll be taking a thought into meditation, and I invite you to do that. I'll be back at 10:15, and in the meantime, you may contemplate this thought. I embrace all of life, including the fuzzy, furry, and tiny. And I'll see you at 10:15. Welcome back from your meditation. And I invite you now, if you're at home, well, obviously you're at home. We have some folks here. This is the time in our sanctuary when we have our meet and greet time. There's going to be really nice slides from some of the things that have happened here at the center while you're at home watching and here in the sanctuary. Get yourself a beverage, a snack, and get settled in. We'll be back at 10:15, and we'll get our service started. And we have a wonderful service planned for everyone today. So I look forward to seeing you again then. We'll be back.
Normally, I never get that. And it's like, low cal and hot. And she's like, okay, so I think they messed up. Something went wrong. Or hot. Are you thinking Blackbird? No, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know what this. It was just. I'm just doing 2 chords back and forth. I'm sorry. Ready? One. Horse with no name.
On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and jewels and rings. The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to get out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. La 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 la. After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. After 3 days in the desert fun, I was looking at a riverbed. And the story it told of a river that flowed made me sad to think it was dead. So I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. La 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 la. After 9 days, I let the horse run free, 'cause the desert had turned to sea. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rings. The ocean is a desert with life underground and a perfect disguise above. Under the cities lies a heart made of ground, but the humans would give no love. Been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Oh, that was so wonderful. For those of you who are not of that era, should we say, that was actually a song by Neil Young when he was with America. It was by America, but the group was what he formed and was with to start with. And then he went on to do his own thing. You might remember Harvest Moon and Heart of Gold. Heart of Gold. Yes, he was with Buffalo Springfield. So, you know, we've got all of these music buffs. I'm not going to say old music people, but buffs. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome out there. We're done with our music section for this morning, just that little trivia bit. But you know, it may serve you well someday if you're on Jeopardy. So put that in your cell phone and hang on to it. So we have wonderful stuff for you this morning. I just want to welcome everybody. I don't see anybody new here today, but that's okay because we love to see everybody who comes every day, anyway, you know what I'm saying. It's Sunday morning. It's early. You get what you get. And we do just have a wonderful time here. So do enjoy being with us this morning. If you're out there, we're so happy that you are. And if you're in here, we're really happy that you are. You may notice that our seating arrangement is a little bit bigger and a little more expansive. We had the Hope Garcia concert on Friday night. And it was out of this world, let me tell you. So we had extra seats, and we took some down, but we still left out. And this is our new mental equivalent of filling the center. So all the time, these seats are going to be like this, and I know that any minute now, any Sunday in the next few months, I'm going to be here on a Sunday morning, and every one of them. There's 54 seats here, so be ready. Be ready. And you'll have to get here early, otherwise you might not get one. But we've got more seats. So if you're out there and you don't come down, well, get down here and put your butt in a seat. Come on. If you're around here, get down. All right. We're going to move on now with our morning, and I'm going to have Donna come up and do the announcement for the movie and whatever else she's got up her sleeve there.
Well, I want to compliment Hope wonderfully, and Joey was part of the band. What a wonderful concert. Janice teased me because I didn't know most of the songs, but it still sounded wonderful. So, we have a movie slide. We have one last movie. We've been having fun with those movies, and Steve and Donna are hosting the last movie tomorrow. We have 4 people signed up. They have a big house, so we can sign up a bunch more people. So the deal is you show up at 2 o'clock at their house, and I think you've told them how to get there, right? Yeah, okay, good. And if anybody else wants to sign up, they'll let you know. And then you watch the movie, take a break, get some snacks, and then CSL does a Zoom explaining the scientific, the spiritual message, talking about, at least that's what they're supposed to do. They didn't do that exactly on Da Vinci Code, but but it's interesting to find out what other people think and what other people see that you've missed. So it's wonderful. This is our last one. Sign up. It's great fun, and I hope you'll all be there. Thanks.
Thanks, Donna. My goodness, I guess I better get my glasses. Yep. Now we've got a few more announcements. Not very many today, but just a few. And so we can go ahead and have those start. So today is the board meeting. It's going to be at 12 noon. We moved it up to 12 because we found by sitting around at 12:30 we all wanted to take a nap by 1:30. So we're doing it at noon, and usually we're done with everything here by then anyway. And you're welcome to stay for it. It's open to anybody who'd like to be here, and you can get to it on Zoom also if you're at home. And yoga, we still have yoga going on here on Saturday from 9 to 10. And Dina has been wonderful with the yoga class. It's been fun. There's a bunch of us that have been going, and it's a wonderful time. So come on down. It's a $10 donation, or whatever you put in the basket works. So the idea from Dina is that she wanted to make it available and affordable for everyone, and to be able to have people just enjoy the relaxation of yoga. It's not stressful, I can tell you. The One Hope Choir rehearses on the first and the third Sundays. And so if you are thinking of singing in the choir, if you're here, if you're out there somewhere, be here on the first Sunday and the third Sunday. Now, Hope, the first Sunday is going to be Labor Day weekend. Y'all going to be here then? It'll be pushed over to the second in September because that is, the first Sunday is Labor Day weekend. So, pardon? No, we're talking about September. Oh, I don't know if people are here today. No? It got pushed because of the concert today, and then Labor Day weekend, it'll also go out to the second Sunday instead of the third. But we'll keep you up on that, so don't worry about it. I do want to say that the concert on Friday night was just out of this world. I don't have any other words for it. And I want to give, not only do I have to celebrate the musicians and Hope, but we had support from people here. John and Janice Lehman did a huge amount of making sure everything was coordinated. Michelle and Kim Gunn from Sanger made a beautiful, beautiful catering for our VIP party, and it was just beautiful. You could see it on the slide. So if you need catering, we can get you hooked up with her. Maybe she would do it. Maybe no, I don't know if they would or not. It was a special thing for us, so we'll see. Anyway, it was an amazing evening, and rumor has it we may get to do it again someday. So stay tuned. Yeah. And I do have to give thanks because Hope gifted us with all of the proceeds from the concert, and that was a huge benefit for us. So thank you for your gift. And moving on along, we have our Inclusivity Quote. Now every week we have one of our team members on the Inclusivity Diversity team who picks out a quote for us. And this week our talk is about nature, animals, and you'll see what happens there. And so Carol Greening, who picked out the quote this week, picked out the quote from Mark Beckhoff, who was the co-founder of the Jane Goodall Institute of Ethnologists. I can't see it from here. Sorry about that. Anyway, people who are for the ethical treatment of animals. And the quote is, "Let us remember that animals are not mere resources for human consumption. They are splendid beings in their own right who have evolved alongside us as co-inheritors of all the beauty and abundance of life on this planet." And that is something we'll be talking about today. So thank you, Carol. That was a beautiful quote. And now it's time for our affirmation and spiritual treatment. And our remote practitioner, Kim Bebo, is here this week. And not only will she be doing this part, but she'll also be seeing folks afterwards for prayer.
Thank you.
Is your green light on? Oh, yeah.
If I hold it to my mouth, it will
There
sound
you
much
go.
better. I am very pleased to be here. I was very, very happy to be here on Friday night. I definitely enjoyed the concert. It was just wonderful. This week's affirmation is, I embrace all of life, including the fuzzy, the furry, and the tiny. And if you'll join with me,
Yeah.
I embrace all of life, including the fuzzy, the furry, and the tiny. And so it is. As we settle into the oneness within, knowing that God, Spirit, is all there is. It is that deep centering breath of life. It is all of nature. All of the furries, the beasties, the rocks and the trees, the beauty, the oneness of all that is. And as we walk in nature, Spirit is in all, through all, and is all. Let us together claim a shift in consciousness, allowing our love and beauty to shine within and without, knowing oneness is all around us. My gratitude expands to include all, including the rocks, the trees, and the bees. I release this word into the law, knowing that it is also, and so it is. And if you would like prayer, a short prayer after service, I'm available. And there are prayer requests over there in the box, over by that red chair. There's a black box that you can put them in if you'd just like to write a prayer instead of sitting, and we'll pray. We'll pray. And I look forward to seeing you all. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. And now y'all get to sing, okay? And I want to hear this because this is an incredibly beautiful song, and everything that you are saying and everything that we are singing offers a vibration that is so important because it's gratitude. It's gratitude, and that's the biggest thing that we can do. So, go for it. And you know this song, and it's going to be up on the signs, so you'll be able to see it. And it's easy. So that song happens to be very special to me because it was the very first song that I ever heard the very first time that I ever went to the Center for Spiritual Living, and that was in Santa Rosa, California. And Linda Webb Kakaba was singing that song, and I cried through the entire rest of the service. It took me to my knees, which reminds me that Miss Hope singing Change Is Gonna Come, the Sam Cooke song, on Friday night took me down to my knees also. Believe it or not, your minister does have tears, and they do come down a lot when you don't maybe see them. And this song is always, to me, a very touching thing for our hearts because we are so blessed. I'm blessed. We are so blessed. You are all so blessed. And for me, a blessing is a gift of love from Spirit. That's my definition of it. And so, that being said, I'm going to present my message today, and that's a blessing too. I'm just sure of it. So you can be the judge of that. Well, good morning, and welcome to the third Sunday in August. That means we're getting closer to September, and somewhere in September, the temperature changes a little bit. I remember that from last year, so we have much to look forward to and much to celebrate today as well. This month, our monthly theme has been Living Everyday Wonder in and with Nature. And we've been contemplating the interconnectedness of all the aspects of nature and our human interactions with it. This week, we're looking at the diversity of the animal kingdom. My talk title is The Furry, the Fuzzy, the Scaly, and Everyone Else. Now, I'd like to start with a little story of how different faith traditions handled a squirrel invasion of their facilities and their community. Well, the Presbyterian Church called a meeting to decide what to do about their squirrel infestation, and after much prayer and consideration, they concluded that the squirrels were predestined to be there and they should not interfere with God's divine will. Now, at the Baptist Church, the squirrels had taken an interest in the baptistry. The deacons met and decided to put a water slide on the baptistry and let the squirrels drown themselves. However, the squirrels loved the slide and unfortunately knew instinctively how to swim, so twice as many squirrels showed up the next week just to be in the pool. Now, the Lutheran Church decided that they were not in a position to harm any of God's creatures, so they humanely trapped their squirrels and set them free near the Baptist Church. And 2 weeks later, the squirrels were back when the Baptists took down the water slide. Now, the Episcopalians tried a much more unique path by setting out of pans of whiskey around their church in an effort to kill the squirrels with alcohol poisoning. But they sadly learned how much damage a band of drunken squirrels could do. But the Catholic Church came up with a more creative strategy. They baptized all the squirrels and made them members of the church, and now they only see them at Christmas and Easter. And not much was heard from the Jewish synagogue because they took the first squirrel and circumcised him, and they haven't seen a squirrel since. And of course, the folks in the Center for Spiritual Living taught their squirrels how to meditate, and they now have them giving courses to the rest of the squirrels in the community. So, and everyone's living in peace. You know, I hope there's no offense taken at the different faith traditions mentioned because it's all in good fun, but I had to do that. I had to do it. And that idea of the whole parade of the drunken squirrel, that was just great. And even the water slide. Anyway, you know, much of the time when we think of the animal kingdom, we consider domestic animals. And we may include all the popular animals we might see at a zoo or animal sanctuary. And some of those might even include the less favorite ones that would include the fuzzy and the scaly, and there's all the rest of them too. To better understand the scope of animal kingdoms, I have provided a little chart. So I hope you can see it. If we could have our slide, please. There you go. Now, as you look at it, you can see we have our basic worms. And then we have ocean friends without vertebrae, that's like sponges and urchins and jellyfish and anemones and oysters and clams and snails, and under the sea with the octopus. And then spiders, scorpions, crabs, lobsters, barnacles, and insects. Now, who would have thought a barnacle was part of the animal kingdom? Then we have the vertebrate class, which of course is amphibians, reptiles, birds, bony fish, cartilaginous fish, eels, and of course mammals. And maybe this slide is more like what we think of as animal life. Next one. And there you see we've got squirrels and we've got ordinary things that we might consider as real animals or as animals that we are more familiar with. Yet, you know, all of the species of the animal kingdom have an element of consciousness. And Dr. Holmes noted in the Basics of Science of Mind, consciousness sleeps in mineral life, dreams in plant life, awakens in animal life, and comes to self-consciousness in man. Now, Thomas Troward, who Dr. Holmes really took a lot of information from and really coincided with, proposed that the same divine intelligence, you can take it down now, Donna, the same divine intelligence from which everything was created was in all creation. It was simply demonstrated by the degree of livingness the creation expressed. So he took it one step further in grading the order of that livingness as mineral, plant, animal, human, and then the fully realized spiritual being or divine ideal. Now, even with these designations, he understood there was divine intelligence in all creation that connected everyone and everything to source. And years later, Eckhart Tolle wrote, everything that exists has being, has God essence, has some degree of consciousness. Everything is alive. The sun, the earth, the plants, the animals, the humans, all are expressions of consciousness manifesting as form. Now, we seldom have our thoughts about minerals having divine intelligence. Yet indigenous people have always recognized and honored the essence of spirit in all creation. Stone or rock divination is a common practice among some indigenous cultures. And it's similar to what folks might do with tarot cards or angel cards or other things that might be considered methods of being in touch with greater intuition about life. So how this works is that as you're in a place with rocks and stones, you hold in your consciousness a situation or a challenge that you may be facing, and you may be seeking guidance about it. Well, one then selects a stone on the path or wherever one may be that there is a stone or a rock, sometimes by a riverbed, sometimes by a stream, in the ocean, shore. And with that question or concern in mind, the individual looks for a pattern that may be revealed in the matrix of the stone. Now, that pattern may take the shape of some natural creation, a plant, a star, a bird, an animal, perhaps another kind of creation. Creation from ancient wisdom handed down by elders, the rock or the stone provides guidance or greater understanding about the situation. Now, you might want to try it sometime and just see what you experience, because it's very interesting, and it's a nifty complement to a walking meditation, I might. We've lost some of our innate awareness and deep understanding of our connection with our source and all life. I think that applies to all of the animal kingdoms, regardless of their nature. We assume they have less intelligence than we do. For example, a fellow in a movie theater noticed what looked like a colorful caterpillar sitting next to him. And puzzled, he looked at the colorful caterpillar and he said, "Excuse me, are you a caterpillar?" And the caterpillar responds, "Why, yes, I am." And the man is fascinated. And he asks, "What in the world are you doing?" Replied, "Well, I liked the book." So, there are so many creatures we don't think about. Some we don't even know about, and before was virtually unknown. Now, it's a rare, gentle little scaly anteater, like a tiny thumb-sized bat, may have been involved. Whatever had created this devastation. You can take it down. And our planet is filled with many plants, animals, and insects we misuse, abuse, or fear because of the stories we've been told and believed. And sometimes in our fear and misunderstanding, we forget that all life is sacred and a vital part of this living planet's ecosystem. And yet sometimes we'll move beyond our fear and tell animal stories to our kids that have great lessons in them. So, here's one. This is the story of two cats and a monkey. Now, the cats were arguing over a cake, stopped by and said, I'm going to help. I'll divide the cake equally for you. So after the monkey breaks it in half, he takes a bite out of the piece and says, oh, these aren't equal because this one's bigger and this one's, and so he keeps on going. So now there's another one that's bigger, and so he takes a bite out of that. And pretty soon the entire cake is gone. And the moral of the story, as we love to share animal things with our children as ideas, when we fight, others will benefit from us. Or this one with a moral that we often hear. I bet every one of us has heard this. And this is the mouse and the saint. So a mouse was chased into a saint's house by a cat, and seeing his plight, the saint changed the mouse into a dog. A few days later, the dog ran into the saint's house as he was being chased by a lion. Seeing this, the saint changed the dog into a lion, and the lion went to the jungle and defeated the other lion and ruled the jungle. A few days later, he went to the saint's house so that he could gobble him up, and the saint immediately changed the lion back into a mouse and told him never to come back. And the moral of the story is, what do you think? Do not bite the hand that feeds you. So, even though we have somewhat a limited understanding, we oftentimes use those as stories for our kids, and then we have those ideas, whether they're true or not. Now, Walt Disney did a lot to personalize animals when he started Mickey and Minnie Mouse. He gave them distinct personalities, and the personalities became apparent in all the Disney characters. And then it extended beyond Disney. It became the world of cartoons that millions of us grew up with, that very subtly gave us impressions about animals, some of which were perhaps misleading, although many were fun and entertaining. From Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner, and Little Mermaid to Mighty Mouse and Bullwinkle and Rocky, my favorite, we had animals we could relate to because they offered human personality traits. Some we liked, some we didn't. And it was the same with plants. Who could forget Fantasia, right? And there was an element of truth in the cartoon worlds. Something that we might have missed if we hadn't looked for a deeper meaning, not unlike what you're doing with the movie series with CSO and visiting about those. And that meaning is this. The same intelligence that created the stars, the galaxy, and the planets also created all life here on planet Earth. Humans have believed that we are the only conscious and intelligent beings on this planet for many, many centuries. And over time, humankind learned that other creatures possess different levels of intelligence, which many attributed to instinctive behavior and programming. And only recently, in human history, have we studied and investigated behavior, intelligence, communication, and the consciousness of animals, such as the language of dolphins, whales, or crows. Elephants are known to communicate with seismics, vibrations produced by impacts on the Earth's surface, or acoustical waves that travel through it, and they appear to rely on their leg and shoulder bones to transmit the signals to the middle ear. Now, I have a dear friend who has a worm farm on his deck. And we might think of worms as less than interactive. However, my friend has been feeding his worms a variety of plant items that are left over that we might put in a compost pile. And he prepares a smoothie from all the greens and the fruits that are left over that they don't use in their household. Now, he's always talked to the worms, and he's always greeted the worms as he brought their food, and he would tell them this was just for them, and have really lengthy conversations, I think. We've talked about this at length. Anyway, when he opens the top of the container, they are all there to greet him, waiting for their smoothie. And maybe not exactly like a cat or a dog, but definitely with some degree of intelligence that is capable of interacting with a human. We forget planet Earth shares similar DNA and comes from a common source. And most animals are social creatures and share many common traits with humans. Cows babysit calves. I saw that myself when I lived in New Mexico. Prairie dogs have huge interconnected condominiums that large families live in underground, and they support each other in their gathering of food and things that they need to live under there. Gorillas and chimpanzees, of course, have learned words and can communicate with people. And probably the most famous of this that we might all know about is Coco the gorilla. Now, Coco early on, and she had a vocabulary of more than 1,000 signs. She also had the ability to put some signs together to indicate things she had not been taught. For example, she had never been taught the sign for ring. And so she interpreted it with two signs to ask for the name of this, one being finger and the other one being bracelet. So, or what is the word for finger bracelet, she asked. And so then she was taught ring. Now, while we might make a case that a gorilla or a chimpanzee intelligence is greater than a butterfly, let's consider that innate cellular intelligence in a butterfly that carries it through its developmental stages, and then even continues on directing its migration patterns once it emerges. You know, when we watch the Animal Planet documentaries, we find that the residents of all the animal kingdoms and humans are linked, and that we all depend upon each other in some way. And regardless of the demonstration of marked intelligence, what we do see is that all creation responds to love and compassion. Everything. Now, Dr. Holmes notes in our Science of Mind text, love is an essence, an atmosphere which defies analysis, as does life itself. It is that which is to all people, to all animal life, and evident in the response of plants to those who love them. Love reigns supreme over all. And when we express our greater spiritual essence, when we love all creatures great and small, they bring joy to our inner spirit. In reality, what happens to the animals ultimately impacts us, or as Chief Seattle noted, what are we without the beasts? If all the beasts were gone, we would die from a great loneliness of spirit, for whatever happens to the beast happens to us. And that mirrors a Hindu teaching that says ether, air, fire, water, earth, planets, all creatures, directions, trees, plants, rivers, and sea, they are all organs of God's body. Remembering this, a devotee respects all species. Let's just examine our beliefs and misconceptions and biases so that we can truly embrace oneness with all of life and share this Hindu declaration on climate change that states, "We hold a deep reverence for life and an awareness that the great forces of nature, the earth, the water, the fire, the air, and space, as well as all the various orders of life, including plants and trees, forests and animals, are bound to each other within life's cosmic web." By considering nature, we learn more about ourselves and the source of all creation. And when we choose to express that love, that is our true divine nature, our very core essence, we also choose to live in harmony with the planet, nature, and all the living beings on it, including ourselves. So I invite each of us to contemplate the balance of nature that exists right now, even in your own backyard. Here in our community, we can take a walk in one of the parks here. We can take a walk if we live in a place where we have sidewalks and yards and things that we can look at. And we can delight in the beauty of all the creatures you may find right around your own home. You can watch an occasional National Geographic or Animal Planet show or a series about the amazing world of some species, and just see what you can learn. Just see what you can learn that expands your awareness of how interconnected we all really are. We are one, and as Earth Keepers, we have the opportunity to elevate our awareness to kindness and choosing love towards all species. It is my prayer that little Sean will have animals and plants and the beauty of nature and the wonder of life as he grows up that he can enjoy and interact with. So I invite you to spend time making that choice this week in whatever small way you might find. You could say hi to a little lizard on your patio. That one's for Donna. You can talk to the crickets. You could salute the little hummingbirds that are flying around as they feed on the flower nectar. And just be grateful. Be grateful for the blessings of their presence. Give thanks for the opportunity to share the planet with the furry, the fuzzy, the scaly, and everyone else. And deepen your connection with the divine, and you will recognize the divinity in all species and all creation. Honor it with love, for love is the healing balm that always, always prevails. And so it is. Thank you. And so I'd just like to offer a prayer for the animals, the plants, the trees, all of nature. I know that in that one infinite intelligence, that divine intelligence, the love of that great spirit, as the indigenous North American tribes call it, I know that that great spirit is love, that it created through love, that it created everything through love, and that we continue as its creation. And so I lift those fuzzy, furry, tiny, slimy, scaly, whatever they may be, into that great light of love that prevails always. I know that as we learn to be one in ourselves, as we learn to be one in community, as we learn to be one in and through all creation, in the wholeness of the divine, all are blessed with that love. And knowing that it is always love that prevails, I speak this word for the animals, the plants, the trees, the birds, the waters, the elements, the fishes, and the seas, knowing that each one is so blessed, as are we. And so it is. And so now we've got a little special music for you, another little animal song, only it's not like last week, Under the Sea with Kermit, but it's really, really good because they're really, really good. So.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to rise. Blackbird, blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the night of the black dark night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise.
That's a nice old Beatles tune, isn't it? So now it's time for our conscious giving. I love this time. This is when we get to celebrate our abundance in life, our abundance in joy and love, and we get to share with each other. We get to support our community. We get to support our center in ways that create the space for a concert like Hope gave, a way that people can come together inclusively and worship and be here and enjoy life and love and the presence of the divine in this sanctuary. Go ahead. So we have this wonderful affirmation. If you like to take your gift and just place it in your heart, or if you've already done it, you can go, let's say it with me. I am so grateful for the diverse ways abundance flows into my life. And abundance flows in so many ways. Now, for those of you who are at home and would like to gift the center to continue our live stream and our activities here, you can go to our website, cslvisalia.org, and you can do the donate button there, and you can use that. Now, if you're kind of old school like me and you don't like that idea of technology and all of these things getting into your business, you can send us a check, a money order, whatever you'd like, and the center's address is on the bottom of the screen here, Center for Spiritual Living, Visalia, 117 South Locust Street, Visalia, California, 93291. And you can support us also in that way, and we're very grateful for that. Every Sunday we come together to celebrate our abundance and our love, and this is a place for all people, large and small, doesn't matter, everyone is welcome here, always. Thank you, John. And so I take these gifts of love that I know that have been gifts of love from the Spirit of the Divine that moves through the lives of each and every person who has gifted this center today and always. And I am so very, very grateful. So very, very grateful, because these gifts go forward and they bless this center, they bless our community, and they bless our world in so many ways. And for this and so much more, I am very grateful, and so it is. And now it's time for this place in the service where we get up and we do the peace song. And we go around in a circle, and if you want to hold hands, that's great. If you want to just stand there, you can just put your hand out so that the energy keeps moving in the circle. And do whatever you are most comfortable with. There we go.
Now there is peace on earth. I know it begins with me. Now there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. When God as Creator united all are we. Well, I walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me.
Yeah, boy, howdy it has. It begins with each and every one of us. And now this is the time when we get to say together, if you're in the mood. Ready? Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Now, life is in my mind, and life is in my body, and it's in the body of my affairs. I think it, and I feel it, and I love it. Just the way that it is, and just the way that it is not. Ready? Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
Have a wonderful week, everybody. We'll see you next time.
On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain. The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. Well, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. 'Cause in the desert, you can't remember your name. 'Cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. After 3 days in the desert fun, I was looking at a riverbed. And the story is told of the river that flowed. It made me sad to think it was dead. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name. 'Cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. After 9 days, I let the horse run free, 'cause the desert had turned to a sea. And there were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain. The ocean is a desert with its life underground and a perfect disguise above. Under the ocean, there's a heart made of ground, but the humans will give it no love. You know, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. 'Cause in the desert, you can't remember your name. 'Cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la.